Papa Kenn Media.
Hello everyone and welcome to a brand new Papa Kenn Reviews. Today, I'm hooked on a feeling. Guardians of the Galaxy.
I'm hooked on a feeling. I'm high on believing that you're in love with me.
Like I said, today I'm going to be reviewing Guardians of the Galaxy, the latest film from Marvel Studios. And today I'm going to be starting with a new format where I'm going to give you my personal rating, my personal enjoyment rating for this movie, and then basically give you that as to whether or not you should see the movie, and then at the end I'll give you my objective official score for the movie. And to start it off with, on a scale of, let's say, Grumpy Cat saying no, which would be a 1, to shut up and take my money, which would be a 5, I'm going to say that, in my personal opinion, this movie is a 5. So shut up and take my money. This movie deserves, it deserves full price. You know, catch it on a matinee if you want to, but no matter what the price, this is a movie worth seeing unless you're just not a fan of sci-fi movies at all. Or you just haven't been a fan of any of the Marvel movies, which I feel bad for you if that's the case. But anyway, moving on from that, anyone that wants to hear more information of what I think about the movie, please follow along. Otherwise, go see that movie right now. Like I said, 5 out of 5, go, now. Everyone gone? Okay. Alright, so to get into some more detail, let's start with the good. First of all, the cast. As with basically every Marvel movie, this movie was perfectly cast. Everyone did a great job of side characters, main characters, the villain, and, well, I'll go into a little bit more information on this, but for a comic series that I personally have never read, I mean, they brought these characters to life. They just did a wonderful job. Obviously, I mean, a lot of that's based on the writing too, but this villain who I've never heard of him before at all, Ronan the Conqueror? No, that Ronan the something. But he was truly intimidating. And a slight spoiler here, I guess, but we get to see Thanos in an actual short speaking role in this movie, which we only got to see him as sort of a teaser at the end of the Avengers. If you consider that a spoiler, I'm sorry, but whatever. You should have seen the movie already by now. But yeah, the characters all greatly cast and all did a great job. Second, the action scenes. Honestly, this is some of the best action that we've seen in Marvel movies, in my personal opinion. The other two that come the closest, I would say, would be the Avengers, with just all of its... I mean, that's about the closest that we've really come to just a space battle as far as the Marvel movies go so far. You could say Thor 2, kind of, but as far as just spaceships flying around and, you know, a lot of CGI happening, I mean, the Avengers is about the closest as we've come in that regard. And I just thought this movie did a great job. There was a lot of one-on-one battles, which were very well choreographed, and like the action scenes were well done. No shaky cam, thank God. And yeah, like I was saying, the CGI was just really well done. So I guess that would be like a 2.5. The graphics for this movie, the computer graphics, looked really good in my opinion. I'm sure there's some people that have more of a keen eye for that kind of thing that could find some flaws, but in my opinion, it all looked amazing. Third, the music. Now, not everyone is going to be a fan of the 70s, 80s music that is very prevalent throughout this movie. But, and I've actually seen this on Facebook, but I know some people that they weren't a fan of this music originally, that after seeing Guardians of the Galaxy, they're now kind of into that kind of style, and I just think that's really cool. Now, it could be a style of music that if someone just doesn't like it, it could negatively affect the film experience for them. But I honestly haven't seen that so far. I mean, I know personally for me, I love the music to begin with, but, you know, most people that I've seen just seem to really enjoy the music seeing this movie, and that's just a wonderful thing. Fourth, the comedy. This movie had some of the most natural comedy, not only that I've seen in a Marvel film, But in like most movies in general, like I mean, even in a lot of flat-out comedies, there's a lot of jokes that feel very forced because I mean they have to keep the funny going. I mean, you know, that's what they're trying to do for at least an hour and a half. This movie, for I think just about 2 solid hours. I mean, there's a lot of drama. There's a lot of like very emotional moments. Good story overall, but the comedy is just so natural. And there's some moments that, you know, you could argue that they seem a bit forced, but that's only if you're being very particular and if you're really thinking hard, like thinking back on the movie. But overall, it was very funny, surprisingly more funny than I expected it to be. And by the way, if you haven't seen the movie yet, the opening sequence alone, well, okay, not the intro, but the opening credits essentially, one of the funniest intros I think I've seen to a movie in a long time. Personally speaking, it was so much fun. The comedy and the mix of the story overall and the characters just made this a very fun movie. Now, despite all the good that I've had to say, I did have one issue with this movie, so let's get into it with the bad. And actually, I take it back. There's actually 2 issues I had with this movie, but they're sort of kind of the same thing. The main one would be that, except for who I guess you consider the main character of the movie, Peter Quill, we don't really get much backstory on anyone. We definitely get a little bit of exposition, a little bit of insight as to who they are, but except for Peter Quill, who we get to see him as a child and then you know, him in the future at the current time in the movie, we don't really get the backstory. We don't get much information about anyone. And that actually leads me into my second issue with the film, and that is Gamora. Now, as a character, I really enjoyed her, and Zoe Saldana did a great job at playing as this character. But something about her that bothered me was, throughout the entire movie, we keep hearing how well, maybe not bred to be a weapon, but she was raised to be a weapon. Thanos took her under her wing, and she is this incredibly skilled assassin that has just murdered so many people. We hear that, but we don't really see how she is this huge, amazing fighter. I mean, we get to see some really cool action scenes that are really well choreographed, and there's several scenes with her that are really cool, but it doesn't really go, at least from what I can remember, above the skills that seem to be portrayed by the other characters or other people she's might be fighting at the time. In fact, despite her being a weapon, she kind of seems, she gets subdued a lot, which, I don't know. In my opinion, it's like it makes her seem weaker than she's supposed to be. I don't know, that just really bothered me, again, that, like, you know, we keep hearing her as this weapon, this great assassin, but we don't really get to see that. We don't really get to see anything like that from her except for a few fight scenes. So yeah, those are my main 2 issues, that we don't get to know much about the background of the different characters except for Peter Quill, and then what they're trying to sell us through Gamora just isn't really well done, in my opinion. I mean, some people might see it differently. Let me know if you did, but that just kind of bothered me. Now, as for my overall thoughts about this movie, as you know, like I just mentioned, I did have some issues with the film, but overall, I really feel that it was a great movie. It had a lot of great elements, and honestly, I would say, being objective about this film. Now, it wasn't perfect. I would say that no film actually is, but putting aside my just personal enjoyment of it, it really seems to be a movie that a lot of people can enjoy, unless sci-fi is not your kind of film, or you know, you just aren't a fan of the Marvel movies or that kind of style. I just feel like this is a movie that basically just about the whole family can enjoy, except for the younger audience, obviously, because it is PG-13. But it was just overall very well done. The graphics were well done. The story was executed very well, and Whereas The Avengers, one of my absolute favorite Marvel movies, The Avengers required at least 4 Marvel movies beforehand to introduce Captain America, Iron Man, Thor, and well, technically Incredible Hulk, even though it wasn't the same actor. We had all that backstory leading up to the Avengers. This movie brought 5 characters together in the span of one about 2-hour movie, got you connected to them, got you to love and enjoy them, and it was just amazingly done. So basically, with just except for the few issues that I had with it, it was just about as close to a perfect Marvel movie as I can honestly see. So I'm going to objectively give this movie a rating of 5 out of 5. Now, somewhere down the line, I may change my opinion on that, but honestly, to this day, I would consider Guardians of the Galaxy to be one of my 2 top favorite Marvel films to come out so far, and easily one of my top favorite films that I've seen so far this year. And I am being 100% serious about that. Now, everyone, I would love to hear what you have to say about this movie. If you've seen it already, let me know if you disagree, or, if you agree. Do you also think this movie was one of the best, one of the best Marvel movies to come out so far? Or do you think that there were some missteps that occurred that I just overlooked? Or, I want to know what you all have to say about it. And, well, I keep repeating myself, but let me know perhaps where you think I might have gone wrong in my review on this. But in the end, I really did enjoy the movie, and I hope you all did too. And everyone, thank you very much for joining me for this review. And hopefully I'll be having another one here soon. If you want to see any of my other videos, I've been still working on my Discovering Doctor Who series, so if you haven't yet gotten into Doctor Who, or if you're new to it, or heck, even if you're an old-time fan of it, please click somewhere here on the screen. I'll put an annotation to come join along and join the conversation, because I'm really enjoying going along with that show. I'm just about to start the 4th season of the show, so that should be pretty fun. But anyway, again, thank you all very much for joining me, and I'll see you next time on the next Papa Kenn Reviews.